Welcome to the radio. What time is it on your end, and where are you listening from tonight? This evening, we're going back to a familiar kind of stillness, the quiet kind that happened after school, sometime in 2002. You're a teenager, stretched out on the carpet, waiting for your favorite song to play on MTV. The remote is within reach, the TV is already on, and there's a soft whir from the fan across the room. Nothing urgent, nothing pressing, just the rhythm of waiting and the low hum of something good about to start. If you enjoy stories like this, feel free to subscribe to Quilloren Radio. There's a new one here every night. Without further ado, let's begin. You drop your backpack the second you walk through the door. It hits the floor with a padded thud, slumping sideways like it's tired too. The zipper's already half open, your notebook spilling slightly, but not enough to bother picking them up yet. You'll get to it later, probably. For now, you tow your sneakers off by the door, one clumsily colliding with the other, and step into the house barefoot. The carpet catches some warmth from the afternoon sun that's still leaking through the blinds, making thin, dusty lines across the living room floor. The TV is already on. You left it that way this morning, or maybe your sibling turned it on when they got home. Doesn't matter. The screen flickers through music videos without asking for input. Someone in a denim jacket sings against a moody warehouse backdrop. The volume is low, not quite loud enough to catch lyrics, just soft bass lines and tinny percussion leaking from the speakers. You leave it running while you walk into your room. Your room is in its usual post-school state. The chair is half turned from your desk. The comforter has made a quiet decision not to stay on the bed, and your CD case is lying open like a tiny, circular graveyard of taste decisions. You peel off your school uniform, tossing it in the direction of the laundry hamper, and trade it for a hoodie that still smells faintly like shampoo. Your sock has a hole in the heel. You notice it, acknowledge it silently, then forget about it just as quickly. There's that familiar sound again, the VCR blinking 12. 0, over and over, in determined ignorance of time. No one has ever bothered to set it properly. You've all silently agreed it's not worth the effort. It's not really for recording anything anymore anyway. It's just there, blinking, constantly optimistic. The air smells faintly of instant noodles and fabric softener. Someone has microwaved something recently. Maybe chicken nuggets. Maybe that frozen burrito no one admits to liking. The scent lingers in the hallway like a vague memory. Not good or bad, just warm, familiar. You follow it past the fridge, open the door automatically, and stare into the same combination of leftovers and soda cans you saw this morning. Nothing new has arrived. Nothing has magically improved. You close the door and walk back to the living room. There's a comfortable sort of quiet today. No one shouting, no phone ringing off the hook, no last-minute project panic. Just that ambient noise of life winding down from its daily sprint. You plop onto the carpet in front of the TV, not sitting up or lying down, just somewhere in between. The carpet's a little rough, probably overdue for a vacuum, but it holds your shape nicely. You settle into it, like a cat might, folding into the contours you've made there 100 times before. The VJ is talking now, something about what's coming up next. You don't really register what he says. They all have the same tone, that upbeat, mellow cadence like they're smiling and chewing gum at the same time. A video cuts in, one you vaguely recognize, though not the one you're waiting for. You half watch it anyway. The editing is chaotic, as usual. A camera pans dramatically across a cityscape for no reason. A band member broods next to a mailbox. It's all perfectly serious in a way that can only be achieved by people in their early 20s wearing too much eyeliner. A floor fan hums from the corner of the room. You forgot to turn it off before leaving this morning, but it's not doing any harm. The air is cool now, even though it was humid outside earlier. The fan clicks slightly each time it rotates, like it's trying to communicate some mechanical secret. You listen to it without really meaning to, letting its rhythm blend with the music on the screen. A dog barks 2 houses away. Then, silence again. You glance at the clock. Not the blinking one, the one on the wall, slightly crooked from the last time someone slammed a door too hard. It's 5, 7. That feels about right. The light outside has taken on that slightly tired, yellow tone that only happens when the sun's starting to give up for the day. You know the window of opportunity is open now. Your song usually shows up around this hour. Not always. Not reliably, but often enough that it's worth waiting. You lean forward slightly, reaching for the remote, and turn the volume up by 2 clicks. Just enough to hear the lyrics. The song currently playing is fine. It's not yours, but it's catchy. You let it fill the room anyway. There's something about the way the audio mixes with the afternoon light that makes everything feel heavier, in a good way. Like the day is settling in around you. In the kitchen, the fridge hums softly. Somewhere, in a drawer, a utensil rattles faintly as the cooling air shifts around it. These are the kinds of sounds that don't exist when you're out in the world. You only hear them here, in these quiet in-between hours, where nothing demands your attention except the possibility of something good on TV. You start mouthing along to the chorus of the current song without realizing it. Half the lyrics are wrong, and you don't really care. Your elbow itches, and you scratch it. The kind of detail that doesn't belong in a story, except that it's true and this is how things are. You're here. You're waiting. That's all you're doing. And for some reason, that's enough. When the song ends, the screen transitions to an interview clip. Some band you've never heard of, probably trying to act cooler than they are. You tolerate it. There's always the chance they'll cue up your song next. Or in 5 minutes. Or in 30. The lack of control is oddly comforting. You can't fast forward. You can't scroll. You just wait. And sometimes, in the waiting, things feel more real. You lean back onto your elbows and exhale. The carpet presses gently against your skin. The TV keeps going. You let it. The video ends, and another begins. This one, with a swooping helicopter shot over a beach, paired with a song that's been in the top 5 for what feels like an eternity. You've stopped keeping track of which videos you like and which ones annoy you. Most have settled into a kind of background wallpaper, pleasant and ignorable. You give it about 30 seconds before pushing yourself off the carpet, joints popping a little as you straighten up. You don't go far, just enough to wander around the house the way you do when you're not bored exactly, but not focused on anything either. You walk back into the kitchen and open the fridge again. Still the same contents. A leftover pork chop in foil, a half-full pitcher of orange juice, something that looks like it might have been pasta at one point. You stare at it like you're trying to will a snack into existence, but your eyes just skim over everything. Eventually, you close the door again, a little more slowly this time, as if there's a chance being gentle will convince the food to become more appealing. It doesn't. On the counter, there's an open bag of pretzels from a few days ago. You take one, chew it thoughtfully, and put the bag back without bothering to seal it. It's not an act of laziness so much as an acknowledgement of the temporary. It's all going to go stale eventually. Might as well let it happen with dignity. You wander toward the dining room, tracing a finger along the edge of the table as you pass. The TV's still audible in the background, now playing something upbeat and vaguely electronic. You try to guess who the artist is without looking. You're wrong, of course. The TV has a way of humbling you like that. The dining room still has a stack of mail on one chair. Magazines, bills, a catalog from a company no one remembers ordering from. One of them has a free CD tucked into the plastic, promising 20 essential hits of the summer. You glance at the track list and recognize 2 names. That's more than usual. Your feet take you toward the hallway, where the floor changes from carpet to tile and your steps start to echo slightly. You pass the laundry room without looking in. The washer's quiet today. No jeans thudding against the sides. No low mechanical whine. It's rare for that room to be completely silent. It feels a little suspicious, like the appliances are taking a coordinated break. You continue on, back to your room. The door is half closed, casting a narrow slice of light across the floor. Inside, everything is exactly how you left it 20 minutes ago. The hoodie you threw on is already gathering warmth from your body. The CD player on your dresser still has a sticky note on top, reminding you which one skips at track 6. The drawers don't close properly. The posters on the wall are curling slightly at the edges from humidity. You don't mind. These are the details that belong to you, just as much as your shoes or your handwriting. You sit on your bed for a moment, bouncing slightly on the mattress out of habit. The spring beneath the left side gives a subtle squeak. It always does that, even if you're careful. There's a comfort in it now, like the house greeting you back in a language of faint mechanical protest. The room is dimmer than it was. The sun has shifted, and the blinds only catch the light in strange little angles now. You can hear the TV faintly, just enough to recognize the song structure. Not your song. Not yet. You get up again and check your desk. A half-written homework sheet is still sitting under your calculator. You look at it, then away. There's a time for math, and that time is definitely not right now. The desk chair is the spinny kind, the kind that makes you feel like you're supposed to be productive, even when you're absolutely not. You give it a half-hearted spin anyway, watching it rotate slowly before it finally stops at an angle, misaligned and vaguely discontented. You don't correct it. Out in the hallway again, your sock slides slightly on the smooth tile. You glance down. Hole in the heel, still there. It adds to the feeling that you're held together loosely today, stitched with just enough effort to function but not quite enough to be polished. You pass the bathroom without needing to go in. The door is ajar, and a small line of steam residue still fogs part of the mirror from someone's earlier shower. The fan inside ticks quietly, trying its best to do a job it was underpowered for even when new. Everything hums, ticks, or buzzes just enough to be noticed if you're listening for it. You head back to the living room and sit on the armrest of the couch for a while, one leg dangling, the other bent awkwardly beneath you. It's not a comfortable position, but you don't move. A new video has started. Some vaguely sad song with a moody lead singer standing in the rain, probably pretending to be heartbroken about something abstract. You think you might have liked it last year. This year it just feels like background fog. The remote is still on the floor. You pick it up, but don't press anything. The volume stays the same. The channel doesn't change. You just hold it in your hand like a totem, the way people do when they're not ready to commit to action but want to feel in control. The plastic has that slightly warm, smooth feel from regular use. One of the battery cover tabs is broken, so the back slides a little when you move it. You don't fix it. Outside, a car door shuts. Probably a neighbor coming home. A dog barks once, and then reconsiders. The day continues its slow unwinding, minute by minute, like a VHS on low-speed playback. You could be anywhere in time as long as you stay right here. the carpets still warm from earlier. You return to your spot without thinking, reshaping your limbs into the same lazy sprawl you started with. The TV flickers. The music flows into one song, then another. Not yours. Not yet. But it's fine. You can wait. You settle back into your place on the carpet, head tilted just slightly to the right, so the corner of the coffee table lines up with the edge of the TV screen. It's not intentional. It just happens to be the position your body remembers. The fibers of the carpet press gently against your cheek, a familiar blend of synthetic softness and ground-in mystery crumbs. There's probably a popcorn kernel under here somewhere. You leave it alone. Some things are better unconfirmed. The TV glows steadily in front of you. A video fades out, replaced by another. This one beginning with a zoomed-in shot of sneakers walking through a puddle. It might be promising. You lift your head slightly, but the music starts, and it's not your song. You lower your chin back down and exhale. The fan across the room hums at its usual pitch, rotating in slow arcs that fail to include your half of the room. You're not uncomfortable, though. You've already acclimated to the warm side of the air current. It's part of the deal. Next to you, close enough to touch without reaching, is the remote. It's always there, never far. Not for changing the channel, you wouldn't dare. But it feels good to have options. You rest your hand over it, letting your fingers rest in the slight indents of the volume and mute buttons. The battery compartment rattles again. You don't fix it this time either. You glance over at the CD player by the television. It's the kind with the translucent lid that opens vertically, slightly scratched from years of cautious prying and a few hurried jams. You haven't touched it tonight, and you won't. Your song is only good when it comes on by itself. Playing it directly feels like cheating, like skipping to the last page of a book and pretending you read the whole thing. MTV gives it a kind of legitimacy. It's not just your favorite song, it's a broadcast event. The CD case next to it is one of those giant books with dozens of plastic sleeves. Each one is filled, sometimes 2 discs stacked into a single pocket if you were in a hurry. Some are labeled, most aren't. You know what they are by sight. Purple Sharpie on cracked plastic, a sticker half peeled, a smudge of glitter from an art project that went rogue. You run your fingers across the edge of the case but don't open it. It's there if you need it, like a backup plan that knows its place. The air smells faintly of the old carpet cleaner your parents still use from time to time. Not fresh, exactly, just familiar. A kind of institutional citrus. It mingles with the scent of whatever's cooking in the kitchen now. You're pretty sure it's fish sticks. The oven timer will go off soon. No one will rush to get them. They'll be fine for another 5 minutes after the beep. You shift onto your side, resting your head on the couch cushion that's migrated to the floor over the years. It's supposed to go back on the couch, technically, but it's been unofficially reassigned to carpet duty. There's a slight divot in the middle of it, where your elbow usually lands. You fit perfectly into the shape it offers, like a key into a lock. The fabric is pilled and uneven. You don't care. It smells like dust and fabric softener and one very old Dorito. The videos keep playing. You're not really watching anymore, but you notice the transitions. A flash of static. A spinning MTV logo. Then another video. This one, a ballad. You don't hate it, but it's not yours. You wonder if your song will be part of a back-to-back favorites block, or sneak in during one of those chaotic VJ segments where nothing is announced properly. There's always a pattern, but it only makes sense in retrospect. Your eyes drift across the coffee table. It's low and sturdy, covered in minor nicks from pencils, fingernails, and the occasional dramatic elbow drop. One corner is chipped, not dangerously, just enough to catch the light wrong. There's a coaster with an old soda ring, a couple of school flyers no one has read, and an unplugged phone charger that's become a semi-permanent fixture. On the lower shelf, an old yearbook lies slightly open. You don't remember who left it there. Somewhere in all this, your fingers brush against the small plastic buttons of the universal remote. Buttons you've pressed so often that the volume up key is smooth now, the tiny speaker symbol half worn. There's a certain elegance in how tactile everything still is. You have to press with intention. No voice commands, no gestures. Just push, click, result. Sometimes no result, which feels even more honest. The anchoring point of it all, though, isn't any of the electronics or furniture. It's the carpet itself. This slightly ugly, questionably beige, questionably clean carpet that has carried you through every stage of preteen and teenage development. You've sat on it with friends during sleepovers, played handheld games on it until your neck hurt, fallen asleep watching late-night marathons of shows you can't remember the names of now. You've cried on this carpet. You've spilled things on it and blamed other people. You've done nothing on this carpet, and that's the most common use case. And right now, that's exactly what you're doing again. Nothing. Just waiting, in a soft sprawl of limbs and static electricity. Your favorite song might come on next, or it might not. The video before it might be annoying or surprisingly good. But either way, you'll be here, half lying on this not quite plush rectangle of artificial fibers, pretending not to care while quietly hoping that this will be the moment. The one where the intro chords hit, the camera swoops in, and for a full 3 minutes and 42 seconds, you feel entirely and completely like yourself. Even if it doesn't come, you'll still feel that way. Because this is your carpet, your room, your song, and you're still waiting. The television shifts into another segment, this one featuring a quick montage of upcoming videos and vaguely energetic text overlays that promise top picks and viewer favorites, though they never say whose viewers or how the favorites were decided. You don't move. You barely even blink. The carpet is doing its job. It holds you in a position that's neither fully comfortable nor uncomfortable enough to justify adjusting. The fan continues to hum on its swivel, hitting the edge of its turn with a soft plastic clunk, then rotating back across its path. It never reaches you completely, just brushes your toes with the barest motion of air. You're used to it. You've adapted. You know how to stay still in a way that adults often forget is a skill, fully relaxed, but alert enough to hear the first few seconds of your song if it finally shows up. Somewhere behind the wall, the microwave beeps. You don't turn your head. You don't wonder what's in it. You know you're not expected in the kitchen right now. The evening is moving on without you in a way that feels considerate. Even the dog hasn't asked anything of you. He's curled up on the far corner of the couch, occasionally twitching one paw in a dream, oblivious to the TV's flickering light. You tuck one arm beneath your head, shifting the cushion beneath your cheek, just enough to find a cooler patch of fabric. The scent there is faintly different, more like the couch than the floor, and you take it in without judgment. It smells like upholstery that's been cleaned, but not recently. A little musty, a little like summer feet. It's not good or bad. It just is. Outside the window, the sky has dropped another shade darker. Streetlights haven't clicked on yet, but the clouds have taken on that vague purple tone that always means the day's officially over, no matter what the clock says. Your room glows with soft, uneven light, mostly from the TV. It washes over the walls like liquid color. Pink from one video, green from the next. A flicker of orange. A strobe of blue. You don't look directly at the screen anymore. You're just letting it paint the space around you. There's no urgency. You're not waiting for anything else. No phone call is coming. No alert will chime. No text will vibrate in your pocket. There's nothing to check, nothing to refresh. You're unbothered by that fact. Grateful, even. You exist entirely in this room, in this one horizontal posture, with nothing ahead of you except the next potential music video. You hear footsteps down the hallway, slow, unhurried, and accompanied by the faint scuff of socks. Someone's passing by, but doesn't stop. The living room remains yours. The shared airspace respects your presence. You've staked your claim here simply by lying down and not moving. The TV stays on. The fan continues. The song you're waiting for doesn't come on. And still, you stay. The edge of your shirt has curled slightly under your arm, but it doesn't bother you enough to fix it. Your left leg has gone a little numb. You shift it gently, just enough to get the blood moving, and then let it rest again. You close your eyes for a few seconds. Not to sleep, not even to nap, just to stop seeing for a while. The flicker of the TV becomes more noticeable through your eyelids. Every time a video transitions, the change in brightness flickers faintly on the other side of your eyes like a distant lightning storm. You open them again. Nothing's changed. A different artist now. Maybe something vaguely R&B. You don't care. You're not here for this one either. But you let it play, because that's what you do. Your breathing has slowed without your noticing. You're in that rare state of absolute neutrality, where the body forgets to clench or fidget or signal for more input. You're simply here. Weight on the carpet. Skin against cushion. Sound in the air, not seeking your attention, just existing around you like water around a floating leaf. The VJ reappears briefly, too animated for your current pace, but you let him speak. He talks about an upcoming video, something you've seen before. It's not your song, but you still know most of the words. You let it start. The opening beats come in, and for a moment, you wonder if you've misremembered the intro of your own song. You haven't. This one just happens to start similarly. You let it play. You start to drift, not to sleep, not even to thoughts. Just drifting. The kind of drift that happens when your senses are so used to their surroundings that the body gives you permission to let go a little. The fan rotates. The couch cushion holds its shape. The music plays. A soft laugh track floats in from someone else's room, left over from a sitcom rerun. You wonder, briefly, if time has passed at all since you sat down. You know it has, technically, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like you entered a space where clocks still tick, but no one is looking at them. The remote is still in your hand. You run your thumb across the edge, slowly, feeling the texture of plastic, the ridge of the battery panel. You don't remember picking it up again. The house creaks once, like an old joint adjusting itself. The floor doesn't echo anymore. Everyone else has settled into their corners. The television is the only thing still moving, and even it seems to have slowed. You glance at the screen again, not because anything pulled your attention, but just to remind yourself it's still there. The current song fades. The screen flashes white, transitions, and something new begins. Not your song. Still, you wait. Not because you're impatient, but because waiting has become the point. You don't need a reason to stay still. You're already doing it perfectly. If you've been enjoying the soft stillness of this story so far, feel free to subscribe to Quilloren Radio. There's a new one here every night, each one quiet, familiar, and made to help you drift. Whether you're listening from the floor, the couch, or curled up under blankets, we're glad you're here. Let's keep going. The room begins to blur at the edges, though everything remains exactly where it was. The couch still slouches the same way. The fan clicks in its usual rhythm. The videos keep rolling across the TV like they always do, except now, they feel a little slower. Not sluggish, just softened. Smoothed out. Like someone turned the contrast down on the whole world and gave the air itself a little more give. The TV flashes into another music video. It opens on an overhead shot of a spiral staircase that leads nowhere. Someone walks in slow motion down it anyway, one hand trailing the banister, the other holding a sparkler for reasons never explained. You watch the figure move for several seconds before realizing you've seen this one before. But you can't remember when. It might have been yesterday. It might have been last summer. It might not have been at all. The visuals bleed together now, dream and memory tangled like headphone wires in your pocket. You shift slightly on the floor, just enough to make your hip stop pressing into the uneven part of the carpet. There's a bump beneath it, maybe a Lego that's been there since the Clinton administration. You don't bother fishing it out. The discomfort is a kind of grounding, like the body reminding the mind that it's still here. The remote slips from your fingers and lands softly beside your hand. You don't pick it up again. The moment it touches the floor, it no longer matters. You're not skipping anything. You're not pausing, not fast-forwarding, not changing the channel. There's nothing to control and no need to act. The TV will do what it does. You're just here to drift. From the hallway, there's a low creak, probably the house adjusting to the cooler air, or maybe someone opening the refrigerator a little too slowly. You don't turn to look. Whatever it is, it's not urgent. Nothing right now is urgent. The clock on the VCR is still blinking 12, 0 in eternal optimism, as if it's always just reset and still hasn't given up on being set right. You kind of respect that. The next video starts without fanfare. A man in a trench coat walks through an abandoned parking garage, carrying a goldfish bowl for no discernible reason. A saxophone plays in the background. He doesn't sing, just stares into the camera like he's hoping you'll understand something without words. You squint at the screen, not in confusion, more like you're trying to see if the carpet beneath you has shifted the TV an inch to the left. Everything feels off-center, but not wrong. Like the living room is tilting half a degree east. You notice the light from outside has gone from gold to gray, the kind of gray that happens before true darkness settles in. The street light across the way flickers, then holds steady. Its glow doesn't quite reach the window, but it casts just enough backlight that the edges of your blinds start to hum a soft halo. The walls look a little further away than before. Or maybe the couch moved. You're not sure, but you don't plan on measuring. Your eyelids droop again, not from exhaustion, but because the world behind them feels just as rich as the one in front. You leave them shut for a while this time. You hear the TV continue, someone's voice auto-tuned beyond recognition, layered over a beat that thumps gently like a heart, trying not to intrude. You picture colors without shapes, sounds without source. You know you're not dreaming, not yet, but you've definitely stepped out of the waking world's strict borders. You let one arm fall across your stomach, the other still curled near your head. The position is lopsided, but you've found just enough balance to stay still. Your foot twitches once in reaction to some internal signal, maybe a nerve memory from running to catch the bus this morning, or a half-thought about needing to feed the dog. You ignore it. It passes. The TV blinks into another video. This one is mostly silhouettes and shadows. A drummer plays in a warehouse full of floating paper lanterns. There's no chorus, no real structure, just a loop of verses that feel like they might be building to something but never quite do. You like it more than you should. It sounds like sleepwalking in a song. You hear the rustle of a bag in the kitchen. The fish sticks are probably done. You expect to hear a plate hit the counter or a microwave door open, but nothing comes after the rustle. Just the same gentle ambient noise of the house breathing through its drywall. A pipe hums behind the wall. The fridge clicks as it resets its cycle. The fan in the corner reaches the end of its rotation and jerks slightly, like it forgot how far to turn. Everything is just slightly wrong in ways you can't be bothered to fix. You open your eyes again. The room has returned to its familiar form, but it still doesn't feel fully real. The edges of the coffee table look less sharp. The CD case by the TV seems to have more discs than you remember putting in it. The cushion beneath your head is still holding your shape, but it feels like it belongs to someone else now. Someone who just left the room and might come back any second. The VJ returns, or at least you think it's him. He looks a little blurrier than usual, like he's broadcasting from the wrong resolution. He says something about a special top 10 countdown, but his voice warbles for a moment, just enough that you aren't sure if he said 10 or 20. Then he smiles, the kind of too white smile that only existed in early 2000s TV. You blink, and the next video has already started. You try to remember what song you were waiting for. You know there was one. The chords, the opening shot, the first line. You had it all memorized. But now it's softer in your mind, like a dream you woke from an hour too late to describe. You think about rewinding time, but of course there's no button for that. Only waiting. Only now. The ceiling light overhead is off, but the room still glows with television light. It pulses across your wall like low tide, blue, purple, a flash of white, then red. You could close your eyes again, but you don't. You want to see how long it takes for the music videos to become something else entirely. Furniture rearranged. Walls bent at new angles. People on screen dancing to songs that don't exist. None of it surprises you. You lie back a little flatter. Your body is too heavy to lift now, too shaped by the carpet's embrace. The air in the room feels like it's been thickened slightly, like time's taken on the texture of syrup. But it's not unpleasant, just slower, like you're watching your own memories loop through the filter of someone else's dream. The fan hums. The couch sags. The song ends. And your song still hasn't come on. But you're okay with that. In this version of the world, the waiting feels like the point. The change arrives so gradually you don't notice at first. It might be the temperature. The air feels cooler now, just a few degrees, the kind of subtle shift that makes you curl your toes slightly against the carpet without realizing why. The hum of the fan continues, but now it sounds different. Not louder or quieter, just more round somehow, as if the sound's edges have been softened. Even the static from the TV is smoother, flowing into the room like a low river of light and hum. You're still on the floor, still sunk into that permanent shape made of limbs and cushion, but the space around you is opened. Not literally. The walls haven't moved. The furniture hasn't budged. But everything feels slightly farther apart, like the room took a deep breath and gently pulled away from itself. The TV flickers into another video, but the music is slower this time. Something acoustic, maybe a piano, maybe a guitar. It's hard to tell through the way the speakers blend everything now. The singer's voice drifts like smoke. You can't make out the lyrics, and you don't try. Words seem optional right now. Your fingertips graze the edge of the couch cushion near your head. It's colder than before, and the fabric texture is more noticeable, each thread making itself known. You press your hand flat against it, just to feel the friction. The couch feels heavier now, more solid, like it's remembering its own weight. You lift your head for a moment, then settle it back down. The motion is slow, deliberate, like testing the balance of your own gravity. The room doesn't tilt this time, but something is different. Not wrong, just changed. The ceiling feels higher. It's not, of course, but the shadows stretch differently now. The light from the TV reaches higher up the walls than it did earlier, throwing long vertical streaks that fade before they reach the corners. Even the corners themselves seem deeper, like they're holding more air than they used to. You shift your legs, not out of discomfort, but curiosity. The floor is cooler beneath your knees now. You roll onto your side, not all the way, just enough to feel a difference in pressure. The carpet's imprint on your skin feels like a texture you've worn all day. The TV moves to another song. This one starts with the sound of water, a faucet maybe, or a stream layered under the beat. You glance at the screen. The image is vague. A hallway, a light bulb swinging gently, a person walking away from the camera with their head tilted. You watch them go. They never turn around. Something smells different now. It's not the carpet cleaner or the warm dust of the TV. It's fainter, less defined. It reminds you of the cool side of a pillow or the scent of an open window at night. You're not sure where it's coming from. You haven't moved enough to find a new air current. The house hasn't shifted its routine, and yet the air tastes like outside. From somewhere deeper in the house, you hear a door shut, not sharply, just a dull thud followed by nothing. No footsteps, no conversation, just the quiet seal of wood meeting frame. It doesn't draw your attention for long. Your body registers the noise, accepts it, and lets it fade. You're still waiting for your song, technically, but the waiting doesn't feel linear anymore. It's no longer about what comes next. It's just part of the rhythm now, one soft pause, in an endless sequence of pauses. You've drifted into the kind of stillness where the idea of next seems too quick, too sudden. You'd rather stay here, in the shift, where everything is slow and slightly unfamiliar in the most gentle way possible. You blink, and the light changes again. Not dramatically, no flickers, no jump cuts. Just a slight cooling of the palette on screen. The red turns to lilac. The orange becomes blue. Shadows stretch a bit further across the floor, like they're tired and want a nap too. Your limbs feel less like limbs and more like quiet suggestions of shape. You're not floating, not exactly, but your body feels undecided about its connection to the floor. The carpet holds you, yes, but only because you haven't given it a reason to let go. Another song ends. You didn't catch the start. You didn't track the middle. The chorus may have passed without your noticing, but that's all right. You're in the part of the evening where music becomes landscape, no longer foreground, no longer event. You think briefly about getting up, just to stretch. Maybe check the kitchen, but the thought passes. The distance between your body and verticality feels enormous now. Not because you're tired, though you might be, but because getting up would interrupt this strange new balance. And for what? The microwave? The fridge? Another song that isn't yours? You stay where you are. The shift continues, slow and indifferent. Your body feels warmer now, but the room stays cool. That contrast should bother you. It doesn't. You trace a line in the carpet with one finger. There's a faint, static tingle. You wonder how long the carpet has held this heat, your heat. Maybe it's storing it now, like memory. Maybe that's what houses do when no one's looking. Absorb your waiting and your silence, and turn it into something permanent. The TV dims a little. Or maybe your eyes do. The screen pulls you in less now. The visuals are still moving. Someone in a hoodie riding a bicycle through a parking garage, but it all feels projected from a slightly further dimension. Not quite real. Not quite imaginary. You exhale slowly, feeling your chest rise and settle. The breath feels longer than usual. Or maybe deeper. You don't measure it. You just let it leave you, quietly, like the light slipping out of the room. Somewhere, a video ends. Another begins. You barely register it. You've arrived at the in-between, and you are very, very still. The next video rolls across the screen, and you don't even bother turning your head this time. You're still aware of it. It flickers through your peripheral vision like the slow pulse of a distant lighthouse, but your body doesn't move. Not even your eyes. You've grown so still now that the line between you and the carpet feels hypothetical. Like, if someone came in right now, they'd hesitate to disturb the shape you've made. Maybe they'd assume you were deep in thought, or deep in sleep, or something in between. And you are thinking, not about anything sharp or urgent, just thoughts that trail themselves out like long ribbons of light behind a slow-moving car. Thoughts that don't ask to be answered. Like, will this room still be here in 20 years? Not in the dramatic sense. No explosions, no collapsed foundations. Just, will it still be here? With a couch shaped exactly this way, sagging slightly more on the left than the right, with the same fan that never hits the far side of the room, with the coffee table that you've managed to stub your toe on twice this week and still forgive instantly? You wonder what will happen to the carpet. It's a specific kind of beige you've never seen in a store, somewhere between oatmeal and defeat. Will someone else lie down here someday, waiting for their version of a music video? Or will this carpet be replaced, peeled up and rolled away without anyone knowing it once held the perfect shape of a teenager who waited so long they became part of the furniture? And what about MTV? Will it still exist? Not in the abstract way people talk about institutions, but literally, will the block of music videos still loop like this? Will some late-night broadcast still churn out songs in a random order, leaving kids to guess whether their favorite will appear? Or will it be all algorithms, all custom playlists, every moment tailored and tracked, optimized down to the microsecond? There's something strange and lovely about not knowing when your song will play, about needing patience, about hoping. You wonder if patience will still be a thing. The next video begins with a skyline you don't recognize. Not your town, not your coast, just a generic city with too many lights, too many buildings close together. You imagine someone else in a room like yours, watching the same thing, waiting for a different song, maybe in another state, maybe in the same neighborhood, maybe in the future. What will rooms look like in 20 years? Will kids still lie down on the floor when the couch is technically available? Will they still use the term floor the way you do, not just as a surface, but as a state of being? Like, I've hit the floor. I'm on the floor about this. I live on the floor now. Will couches still sog? Will fans still wobble? Will remotes still rattle when you pick them up too fast? Maybe everything will be voice-activated. Maybe future kids won't ever sit through something they didn't choose. Maybe that'll be normal. But a small part of you wonders if they'll miss this part, this vague middle where you're not entirely sure if your song will come next or 30 minutes from now. Will they have to wait for anything at all? You shift your hand slightly across the cushion, feeling the grain of the fabric. There's a little pilling on the side, a tiny raised loop of thread near your thumb. You rub your finger across it, not picking at it, just acknowledging it. A silent reminder that things wear down in the places they're most loved. You glance toward the CD binder again, half tucked under the TV stand. It's a dense archive of burned discs and hand-labeled mixes, volumes of trial and error, of trying to figure out which song felt like walking home in spring, or arguing with your friend but not really mad. That whole system is already outdated. A relic. But it still means something. You know the feel of every sleeve, the weight of the binder when it's too full, the sharp plastic corners that jab your knee if you balance it wrong. You think, will anyone in the future have to guess what they named a playlist? Will anyone flip through unlabeled discs, wondering what's on them, only to realize it doesn't matter, they'll listen anyway? Maybe not. You let your eyes fall shut again, not to sleep, just to listen differently. The next song has already started. You don't know this one, but you let it in. It fills the room gently, doesn't ask for attention, just settles over the furniture like dust, like sunlight filtered through a curtain. You feel it in your chest before you register the melody. It's not your song, but it's something, and that's enough. You start to wonder what will happen to all this. The living room, the old television, the cushion you're half crushing under your rib cage. Will someone else be here, in this exact spot, decades from now? Will they watch something on a wall-sized screen, or through glasses, or in their own mind? Will they be waiting for something too? Or will the idea of waiting be obsolete? You picture the future version of you, older, maybe quieter, maybe not. Will you still remember this exact night? The feel of the carpet, the color of the walls, the slight ache in your elbow from lying in this position too long? Or will it blend in with 100 other nights that look just like it? Will you miss this? Not in a dramatic, life was better then kind of way. Just in the small, precise way people miss things they didn't know were leaving. Will you miss the anticipation? The not knowing? The comfort of not needing to be productive while you waited? You think about the future of music videos. Maybe they'll be interactive. Maybe you'll vote on the ending. Maybe they'll stop being music videos entirely and just become short movies that happen to have a soundtrack. But you wonder, will they still feel the same? Will anything ever again feel as specific as this moment? The hush of the room, the faint static in the air, the glow of the TV reflecting off the glass of the picture frame next to it. You open your eyes again. The TV shows someone dancing on a rooftop, lit from below by dozens of tiny stage lights. It's unclear whether they're performing or just moving. You like that ambiguity. It feels honest. Your hand brushes the edge of the couch leg. There's a nick there from years ago, a dent in the wood from when someone dropped the VCR remote too hard. It's still there. You rub your finger along the edge of it, grateful that no one sanded it down. Not everything needs to be fixed. You stare at the screen. The song is ending. The next one will start soon. Maybe it'll be your song. Maybe not. But you stay where you are. Because this feeling, this room, this waiting, is the part you'll remember. And you want to remember it all. You don't feel yourself sinking. You've already sunk. Not suddenly. Not all at once. But in gentle increments, like a pebble settling deeper into the lakebed, with every soft ripple of water. The floor is not just where you are anymore. It's where you belong. The line between your body and the space around you is thinner now. You couldn't say exactly where you end and the living room begins. The light from the TV softens further. The videos keep playing, but your eyes no longer track them. Not deliberately. You're aware of movement, of color, of rhythm, but you don't assign names to faces or titles to songs. That part of the evening has passed. The need to categorize, to remember, to hope for a favorite track, it's all dissolved. Now there's only the rhythm of breath, of light, of sound folding gently around your shape. Your head rests more heavily on the cushion now. The fabric has taken on a warmth that feels more like memory than heat. There's something familiar in the weight of it, the way it supports you without insisting. You shift slightly, enough to tuck your arm closer to your side, and the motion feels like a full conversation, a soft exchange between you and the cushion, confirming that, yes, you're staying here. Outside the window, the street lamp buzzes faintly. It has always buzzed faintly, but you're only noticing it now. The sound isn't unpleasant. It's just one more note in the low symphony of evening. The fan hums. The fridge ticks. A car in the distance rolls by slowly, tires on pavement like sandpaper over velvet. None of it draws your attention, but each sound gives shape to the silence. You close your eyes. Not the tentative flutter of earlier, not the casual blink. This time, it's the full descent. Your eyelids lower and stay closed, not because you commanded them, but because they understood what you needed. Behind them, the world still exists, vague and glowing, moving in slow currents, but it no longer asks anything of you. You feel your breath again, not in your chest, but in the space it makes. Each inhale is shallow, but full enough. Each exhale carries something away that doesn't need to return. You're not trying to slow it. You're just letting it be slow. Your legs have stopped adjusting. Your arms are where they landed. You've reached that place beyond fidgeting, where the body accepts the support it's been given and asks for nothing more. The carpet holds you with quiet neutrality. The room wraps around you like a forgotten blanket. You haven't spoken in hours, but the stillness has said everything that needs saying. Somewhere in the house, a floorboard creaks. Not dramatically, just a sigh in the structure. The kind of sound a house makes when it's tired, too. You listen to it without turning your head. You wonder if the house knows how many nights like this it has seen. How many teenagers have waited here, sprawled on floors, half watching television until sleep came, not all at once, but in waves. You're not asleep, but you're no longer fully awake, either. The fan clicks at the end of its arc. The television blinks softly through another set of visuals. Someone on a rooftop again. Maybe the same person from earlier, maybe not. The music is slow and ambient now. No hook. No lyrics. Just slow chords stretched out across empty space. You wonder if this is music, or just silence with a little more form. You curl your fingers slightly. They don't want to close all the way. The joints have loosened, and the nerves have decided they've done enough for one night. You let your hand stay where it is. Curled. Soft. Motionless. It feels like the room has lowered itself, just a bit, to meet you. The couch beside you is no longer towering. It's beside you in solidarity. The coffee table no longer intrudes on your sight. It simply rests, a silent companion. The air has cooled a few more degrees. Enough that you register it, but not enough to move. Your skin adjusts in real time, becoming part of the temperature instead of fighting it. You no longer know what video is playing. You're not sure if you heard the last song start or end. You might have dreamed it. You might have imagined hearing the first few notes of your song, and maybe that was enough. You've stopped checking. The waiting has long since turned into resting. Breath in. Hold. Breath out. Stay. You think, for one brief moment, that you could sleep here. Not plan to, just do it. Without effort, without ceremony. No brushing your teeth. No checking the clock. No switching off the light. Just let the carpet absorb the rest of you, as it has already started to do. Your heartbeat is slow, not dramatic, not noticeable, just present, like the soft hum of the TV in the background. You're aware of it, but only distantly. Everything now is distant, in a comforting way, like the world has stepped back, given you space, and turned the volume down to the lowest setting. The edges of your thoughts begin to fray. You don't stop them. You don't chase them. You let them go where they want, drifting out across the carpet like shadows at dusk. Somewhere on the screen, someone is singing. You hear none of the words, but you understand everything. The night no longer feels like a series of hours. It's become one long stretch of quiet, a gentle space without edges. You lie there, motionless now, no longer waiting for your song, no longer checking the screen. That part of the evening is gone. It passed without ceremony, without needing to be marked. The television still flickers. The colors shift, the camera angles drift. Every few minutes, a new song rolls in, and another one fades out. But you're not watching. You're not listening with your ears anymore. The sounds and light pass through you now, like wind through an open window. You're not asleep. Not yet. But your thoughts have stopped reporting in. No mental lists. No mental headlines. Just a low and even murmur beneath the stillness, a kind of inner hush that doesn't need anything from you. The sort of hush that lives in the seams of old couches and the backs of dresser drawers. The floor feels softer now, not because it changed, but because you have. The longer you lie here, the less the body resists. It becomes part of the fabric, part of the silence. Your elbows no longer ache. Your hip is no longer pressed. The pressure has distributed itself, absorbed, forgiven. The TV blinks into a new scene, bright at first, then slow fade to blue. You see it only as a glow behind your closed eyelids. A ripple of light across your skin. It's enough to feel it. You don't need to name it. Somewhere in the back of your mind, you remember the couch cushion beneath your ribs. Earlier, it was uneven. Now it just exists. You've forgotten the small details that once demanded attention. You no longer wonder when the next commercial break is. You no longer wait for anything. Even your name feels optional in this moment. You are simply here. And here is good. You stretch your toes beneath the blanket. No, wait. You never brought one down. But your legs are warm anyway. The carpet has held your shape long enough to return the favor. There's a steady heat now, like the room learned your temperature and matched it. The house is quieter than before. Or maybe you've simply tuned to a new frequency. You still hear the fan, the occasional creak of the ceiling, the hum of appliances standing sentinel in the background. But none of it demands your attention. They're the closing lines of a conversation you've been part of all night. You remember, briefly, the first video that played. Something upbeat. Something you thought might lead into your favorite. But now the memory floats untethered. You don't need to retrieve it. It's still there, part of the fabric of the evening. You don't need to relive anything. Just being here is enough. The television drones on, a quiet companion. The glow casts soft shadows across the table legs, the wall, the soles of your socks. You haven't moved in a while. You don't intend to. Movement would mean returning to something. You don't want to return. Not just yet. You let out a long, even breath. Not on purpose. Just one of those sighs the body gives itself when the day is fully released. You didn't know how much you were carrying until it left. You feel hollow now, but in a good way, like a room with the windows open. Time no longer has a shape. You don't know how long you've been lying here. You don't know what hour it is, or if the clock is blinking again, or if the world outside the window is closer to morning than night. You don't need to know. This moment doesn't answer to clocks. Maybe you've drifted a little. Maybe your thoughts have unspooled across the room, trailing gently under the couch, over the coffee table, into the corners where dust and dreams gather quietly. You are still. The kind of stillness that doesn't need a reason. The kind of stillness that feels earned. You wonder, distantly, if someone else is awake right now, in another room like this one. Maybe across the city. Maybe across the country. Also waiting for their song. Also finding peace somewhere in the act of giving up the chase. You hope so. The soft light reflects off a stack of VHS tapes next to the TV. You'd forgotten they were there. Blank spines. Handwritten labels. Some of them may not even work anymore, but you keep them. They belong here. They make sense in this quiet. The ceiling above you stretches quietly into the dark. You could count the tiles, the bumps in the plaster, the tiny flicks of paint, but you don't. You've done that before, on other nights. Tonight, the ceiling doesn't need your attention. It's just something to exist above you, giving the room its quiet lid. You feel a quiet appreciation for this moment. Not a rush of gratitude, not a cinematic swell, just the kind of appreciation that hums quietly in the background, like the power strip behind the TV. The sense that this stillness has weight, that it will stay with you, even if you don't remember the details later. Your arms feel long now, not heavy, just extended, like the world widened to let them rest more comfortably. You don't think about where your hands are. You don't think about where your knees have settled. Everything is placed exactly where it needs to be, even if it drifted there without plan. The next video begins. You hear the first chord. A voice, soft and drawn out. You don't know the song. Or maybe you do, but you're hearing it through a different filter now. It doesn't land in your ears. It lands somewhere deeper. And that's enough. You aren't chasing any more songs. You aren't wondering what's next. You aren't reflecting on what was. You are just here. Here, where the house is quiet. Where the fan turns without urgency. Where the music rolls forward, one soft layer at a time. Where the night no longer asks anything of you. And you've never felt more complete. The screen keeps changing. Somewhere beyond your closed eyes, the music videos cycle one after the other. Light still moves softly across the walls. Shadows stretch, collapse, stretch again. You don't see any of it clearly now. You sense it. You're still lying in the same place. You haven't moved in a long time. Your body is warm, heavy in the way blankets are heavy, not in a burdensome way, just settled. Familiar. Entirely here. The TV hums. The carpet holds your shape. There is no need to speak. No need to think. No need to finish anything. You're not waiting anymore. The song doesn't need to come, because you've already arrived. Breath in. A pause. Breath out. No rush. No plan. No need. The air in the room feels thicker now. Soft. Still. Full. The fan keeps turning, gently. It hums like memory. You don't follow it. You let it pass through. Every sound has rounded edges. Every light is dimmer than before. Even the couch has softened its corners. Time drifts. Thoughts drift. You drift. There is nothing left to do. No notifications. No voices calling. No chores waiting upstairs. Just the floor beneath you. The light beside you. The quiet above you. Everything is exactly where it belongs. So are you. The room breathes with you. The television becomes a light, not a show. Your fingers don't twitch anymore. Your toes don't press into the carpet. Everything's still. Everything gentle. Everything slow. You think of nothing specific, but everything feels familiar. The music fades. Another begins. You don't follow the lyrics. You don't hear a hook. You're too far under. Floating. Not gone. Just far. The living room remains. You remain with it. There is no end to this. Only warmth. Only quiet. Only stillness. The world has narrowed down to one space. One breath. One weight. One low light pulsing across the floor. Your eyes don't open. There's no reason to. Everything you need is already here. So you stay. And the room stays. And the music keeps going, even as you let it go.